and this is BioPhoenix here, and we're back with another random-ass anime review. And as you might expect, I'm taking a look at another OVA series of only 2 episodes, and that happens to be MD Geist. And it is considered as a action-adventure with some mechs thrown in with a setting of post-apocalyptic. So in other words, it's Fist of North Star with mechs, or in this case it'd be more like powered suits, but they look very mecha-like, so whatever. So first things first, let's talk about the story. So many years ago, it turns out that a group of scientists have created some artificial soldiers called MDS, aka Most Deadly Soldier. So these MDSs are extremely powerful, but not only that, but they are also just killing machines in the sense that they will literally kill anything in sight, even like their own selves. So the main character of this one is named Geist, and yes, he is indeed an MDS, and he ends up transporting to a world called Jura. So after reaching Jura from a satellite crash, he ends up finding a gang of bandits that end up killing off a soldier with a power suit. So he tries to take the power suit, but the bandits don't want any of that, so he ends up just ripping off the dude's hands off. And that's one hell of a handshake. So while all the other bandit members are flipping out, it turns out that there is a female bandit named Vaya. Vaya, I don't know. I don't even remember how it's pronounced, to be honest. Well, anyway, she's pretty much the Mamiya of this series, but only that she's like way more butch. So the guys and the bandits end up having a temporary alliance because they want to take out the Colonel Crutz. Because the Colonel was actually Geist's former superior. And there's a civil war going on between them, and of course there is a doomsday weapon called the Death Force. And what the Death Force does is that it summons a lot of machines that just end up killing everything and can also replicate. So that's what you need to know about part 1, and as for part 2, it basically takes place like a couple months afterwards. And after the launch of the Death Force, it turns out that there's not a lot of population left, and whatever is left is staying at a fortress, and of course, there is another MDS, and his name is Krauser. And obviously not the one from Resident Evil 4. So what Krauser does in this one is that he thinks of himself as a god, and of course, at the fortress that all the survivors are staying at, he makes them believe that he is actually a god himself. And when he discovers that Geist is still alive, he just wants him dead out of the picture. And that pretty much sums up the 2 parts, although there is another part, but it happens to be a comic called MD Geist Ground Zeroes, and it actually takes place before the first OVA. So yeah, it's a very basic story that is not exactly deep, but man does it have a lot of action, and blood, and violence, and titties. So in other words, it's a manly man's anime. No cute Bowie stuff to be found. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you put the DVD of Eromanga Sensei right beside MD Geist. Eromanga would probably get melted in seconds. So yes, this anime is indeed Chad as fuck. So now, let's get moving on to the animation here, and I gotta say, I'm pretty mixed on them. And as usual, let's talk about the good side first. So, visually speaking, I really do love the visuals in this one, especially the character designs. Not only does Geist's power suit just look fucking awesome, but also Geist's character designs in certain shots, he kinda looks a lot like John Crawley from Art of Fighting 2. And the funny shit is about this is that if you just type in John Crawley, the first thing that'll pop up is the English cricket player. Thinking about it now, I kinda want to see John Crawley from Art of Fighting and Geist playing cricket together. Wouldn't that just be like the greatest scene ever? Okay, let's get back on track here, because yes, I really do love the designs of a lot of the things in here, and I also do find there are some good details on certain close-ups, but unfortunately, I find when it comes to the animation, like flow itself, it's very inconsistent. Now, there is quite a few action scenes, and of course, like the blood and the gore in this one that do look pretty cool, but unfortunately, there are some shots where it just looks really choppy, and you can kind of tell that they were kind of running on a budget here. Now, I'm not 100% sure what the budget on this anime was, but what I can say is that for low budget standards, it's not the worst that I've ever seen. I mean, this at least does look better than the animation for the OVA Ice, which fucking sucked. But even still, at the end of the day, it is pretty low budget, and it really shows in certain spots. That's probably my biggest complaint when it comes to the animation, because otherwise, I think it does look pretty good for what it is. So now, as for the show's music, the music in this one is definitely the best part for me because the music is fucking fantastic. So first of all, the first song that you hear at the opening is just catchy as fuck and I love it. And the rest of the songs that have lyrics in them also sound really catchy and really awesome. But as for the background music itself, I think it actually works well with this anime since it actually has a lot of heavy metal tracks which really do suit with the scenes well. To be honest, I really can't think of any complaints about the music. I think it's really fucking great stuff. It's lit. And when it comes to the voice acting, if you're gonna watch this one in English, it's really fucking awful. So apparently most of the voice actors here, this was actually their only role that they've ever done, and well, yeah, it's definitely not really great. And I'm sure it's not just the voice actor's fault, I'm sure the voice director was also a big issue here. But yeah, a lot of the voices just don't really fit the characters well, and a lot of it just sounds just really bad. Like, for an example, Geist's voice, he kinda sounds like a knockoff version of Vin Diesel. It just doesn't suit the way he looks. But despite how bad that the voice acting is in English, it does have a few parts that are ironically funny. For an example, there's a part near the end of part 1, where Vaya, or Vyra, whatever, runs up to Geist and she's like, "Hey, everyone on the top floor is dead!" And she says it in such a way where it almost sounds like she's excited. I don't know, for some reason, I just bursted out laughing at that. So yeah, if you're gonna watch this one and actually be, you know, somewhat serious about it, I'd say just watch the Japanese version of it. That was actually how I watched it the first time. So now, as for the rating on this one, okay, so first of all, I just want to say is, this anime is so manly, it's so badass that it just says, fuck the score. But in all seriousness though, I think it would be a good idea to retire the score because I retired it on my game reviews and honestly I'm getting kind of sick of it doing it here too for the anime stuff. And lastly, this one is really hard to rate to be honest. But anyways, as for my overall thoughts on MD Geist is that, well, I know this anime seems to get a bad rep, and just from what I looked up with the certain complaints that people had with this one, I can understand some of it to a degree, but I do feel that some of it is a little bit overblown, but that just could just be me. But anyways, though, that's all well and good, but as for me personally though, I actually did like it. Now, I don't know if I'd say this is like the best shit ever, but god damn it though, I did have a lot of fun with this one. So yes, this anime is very bare bones and also is very straightforward, but at the same time though, just with the way that the tone of the show is, that's kind of the point of the show. It's not meant to be like some philosophical, like, pretentious bullshit. It's exactly what it is, a guy who just goes around killing everything in sight. And there is some pretty interesting backstory to this one. Unfortunately, it doesn't go too deep into it though, but it is interesting enough that they'll at least keep everything grounded. Honestly, I just wish they made like more episodes or more OVAs, but well, yeah, as you can tell with the budgeting issue with the animation, that definitely wasn't gonna happen. Because that's really the big flaw of this one, is that I just feel like it just doesn't have the budget that it should have had. But for what it did offer, I did enjoy it, and yeah, it's not going to be for everyone, and because of that, it is a little hard to recommend, but if you want to watch something that is very non-pretentious and just gives no fucks whatsoever, you could have some fun with this one, and I don't think it's like the worst 80s anime ever, because I know there's a lot of people that do think it is, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but I just gotta respectfully disagree that I don't think it's the worst. Also, it's really short. Like, if you watch both parts in one, it goes to about like an hour and 30 minutes, so like an average movie length. So yeah, even if you didn't really like this one, at least you didn't spend a lot of time on it. For that, there is so many animes that are very long, but also have a lot of boring parts in it. So yeah, overall, I liked MD Geist. I mean, it's not the best thing I've ever seen, but it was fun enough for what it was. And before you ask, no one paid me to do this review and just saying this shit off the top of my head. No, this is honestly how I feel about it. I know it seems crazy for me to say some good stuff about an anime that seems to be pretty popular to hate on, but you know what? That shit happens sometimes.